Hello everyone, it is AD with Astrology and I'm doing your pick a card reading today, guys. And so this one is going to be pretty interesting. It is why am I alive? That's it. Point blank, serious, point blank, period. Why am I here? Why did my soul choose to reincarnate? And of course, I'm going to be looking at all the tools that I possibly can. I'm going to be looking at life path numbers to see if we can get that. I'm going to be looking at astrology to see if we can get any specific placements, so you know like what resonates with you. And so there are a few different ways to answer this question on your own through astrology. Actually, you know, why am I alive? It seems like one of those really existential questions that we ask ourselves as humans, specifically in Western culture. You know, it feels like sometimes the answer is just to work, make money, and die, you know, and then if you get a little pleasure in the middle, then good for you. But I found, especially through Vedic astrology and sidereal astrology, you know, that there are answers to this question. Even in Western astrology, there are answers to figure out, why am I alive? What did my soul choose to incarnate to do? One of the really cool things in Vedic astrology, which maybe we'll tap in on, is the Atmakarka. The Atmakarka is in everybody's chart, and it's your planet with the highest degree. So your degrees do play a major part in Vedic astrology. They play a part in everyone, but particularly in Vedic, when looking for an Atmakarka, it means that you're ruling planet with your highest degree. So please, if this is a question that's been, you know, plaguing you, like, why is my soul here? What am I here for? What is my purpose? Why am I alive? Then there are so many different ways that you can actually answer that question for yourself and then start to live it and start to pay off those karmas. That's been a huge theme for me, kind of like personal tidbit. Me and my little sister, shout out to my little sister. That's pretty much all that we did over quarantine COVID, was really got into Vedic astrology and then started answering those very specific questions about ourselves. You know, in Western, it's called the North Node, South Node, and astrology and Vedic astrology, it's your Rahu Ketu. So we spent a lot of time digging deep to see what is the purpose. Why did our soul choose to incarnate? And we've been having the luxury of exploring really deep and complex questions of how to answer that and what our soul's journey is in this lifetime on this planet. So I do hope that this is able to give you some sort of insight. As you can see, I even added another card to be a little bit more specific. Excuse me. So we have 4 piles here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason why I did that is I do think that everybody's unique and individual, but, you know, I'm a firm believer that everything has a system. You know, we have 12 signs, 12 numbers. You can divide that up into 4 spots, you know, so only so many journeys and all the other stuff are going to overlap and have a lot of similarities. So I wanted to give as much diversity, but also keep it kind of small, just because so we know that like you're not on this journey alone. Of course, it's, you know, curtailed to your specific liking, your specific journey, soulmates, soul contracts, but there's only so many combinations that we can come up with, right, as for why our soul chose to incarnate. So that's what we're looking into today. So please take a moment to meditate, see what Yu-Gi-Oh card speaks to you. Again, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And so without any further ado, guys, let me clear this space out and then get ready for our pile number 1. So let me go ahead. Let me just like put this in actual order before I forget. Before I forget this, I wasn't born before I was a man. That's Slipknot, if any of y'all are Slipknot fans. Anyways. So let's hop straight into it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I guess, poor pile 1, I guess if you're still here and you watch us out of order, but I always do this rant. But thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let's go ahead and hop into it, okay? So hello everyone, this is AD with Astrology and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading. So this is why am I alive? This is if you pick beautiful pile number 1. We have the buzzsaw shark. So I really like, I was really drawn to the fin. It showed like a lot of options in swimming, like swimming upstream, swimming downstream. I'm in a shark, so sharks have a lot of tenacity, but come to find out, I was literally watching this random shark documentary. They're actually really sweet creatures. If, you know, if they trust you. So I would say, you know, obviously this doesn't answer the entire overall reading for why you're alive. It's not to become a shark, but I do think that your soul has chosen to incarnate to really learn how to trust, how to open up. You might come off as somebody who's very strong, very passionate, very mean, so to say. But deep down is a big softie, and as long as trust is earned, then you are able to act on that. So that's kind of what I'm getting from the Yu-Gi-Oh card. So we'll look into it, see how it ends up coming up. We'll move that to the side, guys. Of course, we're going, Pile 1, you know you're always my experiment group. So I'm trying to figure out how I should start this off, because I have some, you know, I'm going to start off with life path numbers. So maybe you'll see if your life path number shows up, and then we'll move into astrology. Okay, so that's kind of what, I think that's what I'm going to go with. So Pile 1, why is Pile 1 alive? Please, Spirit, give us some life path numbers to, you know, give us some life path numbers, please, Spirit. All right, so the first one we have is 4. Interesting. So 4's life path is all about stability. To be honest, it's not really the most exciting or exhilarating number, a life path number. And if you are path 4, that's not a dig or anything. But it really is all about honing and stability. So maybe you could have grown up in a very unstable environment, and so you're constantly seeking stability. It also represents Cancerian energy. So it could be about being a mother, being a father, providing a stable home for yourself and for your offspring. Some of that could be something that really drives you. If not, then, you know, that's just one option. But we have 4 represented here as a life path number option. 8 again. So very much like, I'm getting very Capricornian or very earthy energy, excuse me. 8 is again about survival. You even have the Scorpionic energy here. So some of you guys, if you're not any of these life path numbers, you could have Scorpio. Of course, we'll get into the astrology, but I really do feel like 8 is all about work, dedication. 4 is all about stability. So there's something here about really conquering the earth element. So you might have your Rahu Ketu in an earth house or in an earth sign. Let's keep going. But yeah, I just feel like you're really trying to, your soul is really trying to find its footing. Interesting, right? With the juxtaposition of the fish character to have so much earth energy coming out. Because you're really trying to find your footing. You know, you could be like a fish out of water. And we're backed up by 8. So a lot of life path number 8s here. So this is also telling me that there is quite a bit of karma that is due in this lifetime, you know, with this affinity symbol that's represented here. There's quite a bit of karma. So your soul came on a mission. So you might find yourself again in extremely awkward situations at different times. Certain things might be happening that are just completely out of your control. And so I feel like your soul at this point in time is learning how to control what it can control, particularly when it comes to status and when it comes to wealth and material gain. So I would imagine that this is an extremely, so we have a contradictory because we got Cancer, and then I'm getting like Scorpio, kind of Capricornian energy here. So it's just like you are very much emotional, but you're not trying to let your emotions guide you or dictate how you're living your life. This is going to be a very interesting reading. Like I said, Pile 1, you are my experiment group, so I appreciate you every time that y'all let me kind of fumble through it, because then by the end of it, I kind of have a rhythm about myself. But I really do feel like there's something here about learning to control your emotions, your soul. Really, you're very much a watery type person, but yet you're always confronted with these survival, where you have to go into survivor mode for one reason or another. But I do imagine that you aspire to have luxury, you aspire to have status, or you aspire to have a very nice, stable home at the very least. And then we have 9, so life path number 9. So interestingly enough, kind of against these two and against this one, number 9 represents freedom. So I'm imagining, again, there's that, you know, you come off hard, but there's a very soft side of you. So that duality is really what I'm looking for. The word duality is really what I'm hearing. So number 9 is all about exploration, freedom, you know, but also a fiercely independent number. I think number 9 is that Sagittarius energy. But yeah, so there could be a lot of here about wisdom, spirituality. Yeah, so let's move into the astrology, guys. Please keep in mind, I do subscribe to Vedic, so my placements could be a little bit different than yours, but the energy should read about the same. Okay, so we got 3 cards. All right, Neptune, sacrifice, Pisces, air element, Libra. Whew. Why did it leave me? I just heard Virgo, even though Virgo's not here, but Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. K2, South Node, lights, debts. Like I said, your soul definitely came with a mission to clear karmas. for sure. Yeah, lunar eclipse change. And one more. First house, the body, Aries energy. So, and then at the bottom of the deck, we have Leo, I will. So I'm really, at this point in time, I'm getting, especially with those life path numbers, we're looking at one of two ways. And of course, I feel like every reading is going to play out like this, where you're either coming from one end and headed to the other, or headed for another end and headed to the next. Okay, so here are the two options that I'm getting. Either you grew up in an extremely stable environment, middle class, maybe suburban, you know, just kind of easy living. Things came easily to you. Your life path was kind of garnered. It was kind of structured for you. You didn't really have to worry about much. And so as you're getting older, or your soul is now longing to explore different realms because you grew up in such a kind of nice structured environment, and so now your soul is kind of like, I want to go and see what the other half lives like I want to go see what's going on, and then gaining wisdom that way. It's definitely like you're either the Buddha story, right, where the Buddha started as this very, very extremely rich, wealthy prince, and then he went outside of his castle gates and saw the rest of the world suffering and was like, oh my gosh, I did not even know that this was happening. So then he dedicated his life to renouncing everything else and becoming like this wise teacher, sharing his thoughts. So I definitely do understand that your soul also came to communicate, came to dream, and came to experience. The other end where you could be coming from is where you have the direct opposite of that, and you were more on the Jesus Christ story, where like you started off really in an unstable environment, a lot of things out of your control, did not have a steady home, did not have a steady upbringing. So you are going to this world to figure how to have stability in your life. You will want to be grounded. You want to discipline. Maybe for some of you, I'm hearing, especially with Neptune here, you could come from a family that had escapism issues, and escapism can manifest in many different ways. It could be a strong workaholic. It could be an alcoholic. It could be a drugaholic. Any of those things where you grew up in an environment where it was not very, it wasn't stable at all. So that's why you have dedicated your life to maybe being sober. You've dedicated your life to not doing any drugs, to not exploring, because you've seen what it looked like. So you were trying to be the exact opposite. Again, versus the first half of this group, which definitely will probably want to experiment with drugs, want to explore because maybe their family was very strict or disciplined or just didn't explore those different things. So I'm really getting that. Either way, how you started in this life is going to be a drastic difference from how you end in this life with this lunar eclipse change. Some of you guys, I really do feel like you came to be a mother or a father. You came to bring in a life into this world. Especially with this, when I'm getting like this child energy too, some of you might have had difficulties rearing children or having children, or there's been blockages when it comes to children, you know, especially here, could be miscarriages. Sorry if that's a trigger for you, but just know that that was a part of your soul's contract. You're in your soul's contract. You could have been helping to aid souls in that weren't necessarily able to form because their karma just had to deal with the womb. You know, that happens sometimes where you're like a vessel for souls who don't necessarily have to go through the entire carnation process, who don't have to go through the entire lifespan process. They just have to be made real for a second to end karma. So if your body has been a vessel for that, that is a very difficult life path to have, but you are doing work. So that I don't want to, if that hasn't been your experience, then don't take it, don't accept it. But if that has been your experience, then let me say, you know, I can understand how difficult that is, but you're like the mother of, this is really dark, so just take it, you know, with a grain of salt, but I'm literally hearing like the mother of the dead, like the yoni of like lost souls, where you finally give them a structure to be brought into, and then they leave, they finish their karma. So if you struggle with that, then I can see that here in your life's past. But of course it has to deal with that energy of, you know, if you're specifically where you're coming from, there could easily be root chakra blockages, or not solar plexus. What is, sorry guys, I don't know why I'm completely blanking. I'm really good at my chakras. What's the second chakra? It's solar. No, solar is the third. I see root, and then there's that middle. What is the middle? Freaking, give me a second, guys. I'm so sorry, because this is going to bother me, and this is important. So let me look real quick to see what that second chakra is. because there could easily be some, some blockages in your sacred chakra. Okay, I remembered. Oh God. So yeah, so your sacred chakra, so your sacral chakra, okay, where you know, that's where sexuality and stuff happens. So a lot of you could find yourself having karmic debts, or your soul came to incarnate to experience sex in some way, shape, or form. But when it comes to that womb energy, you have to work on your root chakra. So you have to deal with the upbringing that you had in order to open up that space. You have to deal with any sexual, either tension or sexual exploitation, depending on how it hit, in order to open up those chakras too, particularly if you've been trying to be a mother and you haven't been able to do that. That your soul really came to work and focus on those two chakras, that root chakra and that sacral chakra, is really what I'm getting. So a lot of information, a lot of information to start off with, guys. And again, if that didn't resonate with you, then that's okay. You got 3 other options. But that's really what I'm getting here. So yeah, some of your souls wanted to explore, others of your soul are trying to stay home. It's one of those 2 extremes. Yeah. So let's keep going. Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't get into the air communication, but we have the Queen of Swords come out. Some of you, your soul wants to create, wants to write, wants to share, wants to communicate. So I'm specifically picking up on Gemini energy here. Gemini and Virgo energy. Those are really, they're mercurial ruled. So it's all about writing, paying attention to details. Virgos, again, I'm talking about Vedic astrology specifically, but Virgos and people who possess Virgo energies tend to be phenomenal writers, and so do Geminis. So that could be something that your soul wants to experience too. Let's keep going. Strength. Oh yay, we love that. I think a lot of you have a very fiercely independent streak. With this combination, yeah, the 10 of Wands, because either at a young age you had a lot of responsibilities, or yeah, a lot of responsibilities were just thrown onto you. I do get with this, with the oppression, there was a level of servitude that your soul had to do in this lifetime. So Judgment, okay. Pile 1, why is Pile 1 alive? The 7 of Wands. The Princess of Pentacles. I always do this every time. I do this every time. One day I'm not gonna do it and I'll be so happy. Or I always like start off too late. Anyways, the Chariot, interesting, that Cancerian energy again. So a lot of Cancer, a lot of Cancer here. So there's either karma specifically with your mother, or being a mother, or being a parent and providing a nurturing environment if you are not a woman, you know. If you don't have a womb, let me say, if you don't have a womb. All right, and then we got the 9 of Pentacles there, again, stretching the independence. And one last card for why did pile number 1 soul choose to incarnate? Why is pile 1 alive? Okay, and Princess of Cups. So it's interesting to have all of these page energy here with the Princess of Pentacles, and we got the 10 of Cups. Wow, I love this. So the underlying energy of all of this, you know, your soul really wanted to experience happiness in this lifetime, really wanted to experience oneness, and I really say a family. They want to experience a family unit. So either, again, at the beginning of this life cycle for you, you either had a really awesome, strong family unit that your soul yearned for from a past lifetime, or you had a not so great family unit. So then you end up really appreciating your family by the time that this is all said and done. Now, that being said, the juxtaposition of your family and the responsibilities of your family seem to be kind of out of alignment with the independence of your soul, the independent streak that you have. So I would say that you are alive to try to balance those two things, balance the nature of yourself, which is to kind of be like, I'm a lone wolf, you know, here, literally the lone wolf. I don't need any help. I'd rather take on this life by myself. I know that I have to take care of myself, because if I don't take care of myself, then who the freak will? Versus that yearning, that longing for a family of your own, a family structure, a family of happiness and laughs. you know. So that seems to be the balance, the dance that you're doing. And like I said, either you're breaking away from the family unit because it's too close, it's too tight knit, so you're having to, you know, step out and be independent, or you were forced to, you know, you had a lot of oppression and a lot of responsibilities young, but because that happened, you're like, I don't even want a family myself, but deep down I would say that you do. Hence why the root chakra and the sacral chakra are so important in this incarnation for you, to focus and hone in on those and heal those energies, because that's where I'm hearing, like, that's where the leakage is, like your heart's bleeding. That's where you've been stabbed. That's where your 3 of Swords kind of is. It comes from the family structure, family unit. Some of you guys could have experienced the breaking up of a family unit. So maybe it happened later. Again, everybody's on their own timeline. So I just heard that some of you guys could have been married, and then you went through a really difficult divorce, and then you ended up having to go and be kind of single dingle, fight for your own, and so you're hesitant to re-enter that process again. But again, you know that you do want the white picket fence, the family, and all that good stuff. You really do long for some sort of stability, very, very strongly. So I really do feel like your soul came, the Queen of Swords, the 10 of Wands, the Chariot, to the Princess of Cups. Another thing that your soul came is to really cut through the oppression and cut through the difficult things and really overcome and show strength. Your soul came to this lifetime to really live out a life of strength, because maybe in past lives you've been oppressed. And I forgot, I've totally done a past life week. Excuse me. So if you haven't seen that, if you're new to the channel, I highly recommend that you go and look at some of the past life readings, because that might give you some context to why family and structure is so important to you in this lifetime. But you are certainly meant to pave a way for yourself. And I also feel like with this double page energy, you are meant to stay childlike. You're meant to stay innocent and keep youth about you. So I imagine that at any point of your life, no matter if you have children, a husband, responsibilities, there will always be a really youthful side to you. There's always be a young, energetic part of you that is excited to explore and do, you know, different things. I do think that you're meant to use your words, your wisdom, to share about your journey and the changes that you've had to overcome. Because even with the Judgment card over the Chariot, you've had dark times and you've had light times, and they've all had to, each time you've had to like carry a lot of burden of yourself, but you come out on top. I do think that the other cool thing for a lot of you, which you might be happy to hear, even if you haven't experienced already, especially with 4s and 8, you are meant to be financially stable. So another reason why your soul is here, why you're alive, is to experience the luxury of life. So the one thing that I will say about that with the Princess and the 9 of Pentacles, it might be kind of a slow drip, but I will feel like you will have to live abundantly. You will have the opportunity to live abundantly even if you're not a billionaire. You will be able to enjoy life. You'll be able to vacation. You won't have to necessarily worry about money, even if you might not be like the richest person on the planet. You'll be able to really enjoy the kind of finer things in life. And then the other thing too, as the inner energy here, you are alive to recognize your own inner strength. I feel like some of you guys, because of just the life that either you're coming from, you either consider yourself to be too dependent, or you had to be so independent. The real reason why you're alive is your soul wants you to recognize how strong you are and how you are able to overcome any obstacle. Like I said, the underlying energy of your deck is the 10 of Cups, which is overall happiness. So yes, there's struggle. Yes, there's ups and downs. Yes, there's light and dark. Your soul had to experience all of it, right? Like if you wanted to be happy all the time, then you'd be dead, or you'd be a tree, you know, or you'd be a blade of grass, right? But your soul is a human in this lifetime to experience the ups and downs, the pitfalls of life. And this one is about recognizing and uncovering your own strength and how strong you are on your own, while at the same time knowing that you are responsible, and you are going to be responsible for possibly, for some of you, I'm getting at least two children. So I do feel like you will be a hell of a caretaker, a nurturer. And so you're always going to be between like the responsibilities of your children versus the responsibility to yourself. But your soul wanted to experience motherhood, fatherhood, being a nurturer, wanted to experience being financially secure and want to experience overall happiness. But of course, I'm sure at points you have to experience being unhappy so you know what happiness feels like. So that is really, wow, that is really what I got. Pile number 1. Of course, we're going to end on your oracle cards, but this is very fascinating. So please let me know if this resonated or made any type of sense. Yeah, Stormfields, yeah. 9 again. So there we got that number 9. So a lot about independence. This is one of your, dare I say it, for some of you, this could be one of your last lifetimes. I really don't know if it's your very last, especially with that 9, just because there are going to be things that happen in this lifetime that are just going to be wildly out of your controls. I'm definitely getting the tornado from The Wizard of Oz, right? Oh my gosh, that is the movie that I'm getting for you. That is so funny. So I'm definitely getting Dorothy in Kansas. Grew up, you know, it was fine. I mean, I guess she was like a little bit of an orphan, which is, you know, difficult. And then, but she was growing up pretty comfortable. And then she got swooped up, and then all to find out that, you know, she had it in her heart the whole time that she could go home anytime, you know. So I feel like that's one of that is your soul's journey, is to kind of get swept up in like this tornado of life in general, and then realize at the end of it that your feet were on the ground, you were supported the entire time. So something that you're really going to have to work with in this lifetime, pile number 1, is just being in control of your thoughts and of course we got the Queen of Swords. Of course we got the air communication. You have to be in control of your thoughts, because if you let yourself spiral, and the moment that you think that you're out of control, things will, you know, life will meet you there. But I imagine that some of you, again, have to do meditation, root chakra, sacral chakra, anything to remove yourself from from your upbringing to an extent, distance yourself from your family, distance yourself from either that super overbearingly protective nature or that really opposite, not protective and completely not their nature. And then find out that, you know, it was in you the entire time. Like I said, that strength. Heal the ouch. 38. What is that? 11. So 2. So again, this lifetime is for some of you guys, if you haven't experienced like extreme difficulties, I don't want you to take that and be like, oh wow, everything's gonna be difficult. But I want you to hear it as kind of like this lifetime you came to experience happiness, especially with the 10 of Cups, but you will have flashes of the pain of a past life just to remember what it was, so you know that you're experiencing the opposite, right? Nothing is honky-dory, nothing is fine and dandy. You know, if you're here, if you're in this material prison that we call Earth, then you are going to suffer. Hence, I brought up Buddha. You know, life is suffering, because as long as you want something, as long as you desire something, then you will always be found with disappointment. That's why I love Buddhism, because it's pretty point blank, period, and simple. So if you haven't read up on any Buddhist or the Bhagavad Gita or any of that stuff, I know I'm saying that incorrectly, but if you haven't been able to read any of those, then I highly suggest that you do, because that is healing the ouch. This is supposed to be a healing lifetime. If you haven't experienced struggles, that's what I was saying, sorry. If you haven't experienced struggles, you get flashes of them, but this really is a lifetime of almost completion, 9, so you might not be in the thick of it for very long, right? It's just to go ahead and heal that. So this is a very healing lifetime for you. You are meant to be happy and experience the luxuries of life. You're not meant to suffer. But again, you're here, so I imagine that you're already a spiritual person, right? So there's always going to be that, you know, so you're already a spiritual person. So I would just say, as long as you focus on healing any of your childhood wounds, and exploring if you want to explore, settling down if you want to settle, then you are going to be you're not going to struggle as much as you felt like you had in other lifetimes. Okay. And then we got 49 represented here. What is 4 plus 9? Is that 11 or 9? 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, 13. So that gets us back to 4. So talisman. And this is all about, notice this path, this winding road, and she's just using her intuition. So some of you guys are just meant to explore. You're just meant to walk down the path and see where it lands. You know, you're not meant to control. You're not meant to, what is it? You're not meant to follow the beaten path that other people do. your path is unique to you, and that's how spirit wants you to experience. Oh my gosh, we got cat, independent. So this could be your spirit animal, guys. I'm going to pull a couple animal cards, but this could be your spirit animal, or it could just hold other messages. Cat, independent. You are a natural healer. Your intuition is strong. You don't have to go with the crowd. Life supports you in every way. Exactly. Like, you're meant to really just do your own thing, live your own life. You're meant to explore, particularly if you have that 9, you know, particularly if you have that 9. As your life path. If you're more of the 8-4, then you really feel like your energy is all about, see, we got 2 9s again here, but your energy is about really, just doing your own thing and exploring. If you're, oh, I'm sorry, guys, I lost my brain. Okay, I'm back. But if you're more the 4-8 person, then you really are supposed to hunker down and focus on material gain. And that is your life path. All right. And then we got personal choice. So some of you guys already have a spirit animal. And again, personal choice. Like, this life is what you make it. Life's what you make it. So let's make it rock. Shout out to Hannah Montana. But yeah, I just feel like, yeah, your life is what you make it. You're meant to follow. As long as you follow your intuition, even with Cat here, as long as you follow your intuition, you will be able to get where you're supposed to go. But you're really meant to explore a lot of you. And then we got Elk, nobility. Celebrate your accomplishments with humility. You are crowned with success. Powerful forces guide you. Your ability to conquer challenges is limitless. Like again, strength. And royal. I love the nobility. It's like this royal air. And again, I know if you've done the past life reading, I wasn't even thinking about the past life readings when I started here, but of course they would show up. But I would imagine that you probably picked a pile that you come from royalty, and so this is going back. It might have been royal, but it might have been a mess. You know what I'm saying? So this is your life to just experience. I don't want to say experience the ordinary, but it's experience the extraordinary. The extraordinary. Get out of ordinary rhythms and routines and explore and do what you're supposed to do. And also, again, I cannot emphasize enough, your soul, I don't care what it is that you're trying to do, what battles you're going up, your soul is meant to experience luxury, okay? It is meant to experience some type of wealth. Like, you might not be a billionaire, I'm honest. You might not even be like a multi-millionaire. Excuse me, but you will have more than enough to be happy, okay? So that is what I got for you, Pile 1. Please let me know if this resonated with you, what you thought of this. But this is why you're alive. This is why you're alive. So just let me know if this resonated with you guys. If it didn't, that's okay. You can always pick another pile, or, you know, pick another reading. Like, that's cool too. But thank you so much for your continued support. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Excuse me. Follow me on Instagram and follow me on TikTok, guys. Peace until next time. Alrighty, so let's move. Let's keep it trucking. And then we have pile number 2 here. Hello, pile number 2. It's AD with Astrology, and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading. So this is Why Am I Alive? So super exciting stuff. Pile 1 was really interesting. I'm excited to see what comes up. As far as what I'm getting from this, so a lot of red. That's right off the rip. So you could easily be a fire sign, Aries, Sagittarius, Leo. If not, then I just imagine that you have a lot of passion. You have a lot of drive. You're meant to be a trailblazer with that flame, that administrator. You're meant to blaze trails. You're meant to clear, getting this energy of, like, you know, clearing, torching those around you. But some of you, Spirit just showed me lava. So yeah, and again, and pile number 1, it was like either you're one extreme or the other extreme, you know, and you're either trying to get to this side or this side. So it seems like either you're a very slow moving kind of lava where you're taking everything out, or you're just like a wildfire. So we're going to keep going. That's super duper uber exciting, guys. All right, so let's move into it and see what we got. I am going to be starting off with these numbers to see if we can get some life path numbers here. They may or may not coincide, but I'm going to try to look at the messages just to see if we're, like, in the right ballpark. And then again, if this doesn't sound anything like what you're going through, then you might want to pick another pile. But let's go ahead and look into it. So what is going on for pile number 2? Why is pile number 2 alive? Oh, we got number 2. Interesting. So maybe your life path number 2. So there's something about harmony, balance, being together. 4, Cancer energy. We have 4 come up in pile number 1, so maybe that there's overlap there. But 4 is about stability, about groundedness. It's not necessarily the most exciting life path, but it's all about seeking inner solitude and inner peace and happiness. And like, again, in a very earthy way. So it really is kind of a life path of responsibility. And then we got 3, creative energy, fun, you know, life path number 3s, they're out there, they're getting it, gigging, very Jupiterian. This is Mars, excuse me, but we got Mars, we got double Cancer. So some of you guys are meant to experience motherhood or fatherhood in a very maternal kind of way, a very nurturing role, but at the same time, like we said, all this red, this Mars, you're meant to charge forward, explore. 3 is also the number of creativity. So some of you, like I said, trailblazers, you are meant to create new traditions. You're meant to take the world in a different way than what they were expecting. And then we got 3 again, so just backing it up, backing it up. And we have Gemini represented. So there could be a duality, but you are certainly meant to explore. You are certainly meant to create. That's Empress energy. A lot of you, quite simply, were meant to experience pregnancy. That's one reason why you're alive, and then subsequently be a mother. But pregnancy for sure is screaming at me. So let's keep going. So this might be your life path number. If not, then let's keep going. You know what I want to say too? Wow, we got 2, 3, 4. So I really imagine that you're certainly, this lifetime is a stepping stone. We'll see if I feel differently, but I do feel like you're on the right path. This probably isn't your last lifetime. I feel like you're somewhere in the middle. Like you're not above a baby soul, but you're like an adolescent soul. We can, if that doesn't resonate with you, then that's totally fine. And I might have to take that back later in the reading, but that's what I'm getting right now. But some of you guys are meant to be in a long-term committed relationship. You're meant to build a family. You're meant to create with some other person. And I'm only saying that because I see the 2 and the 4. So this is like you're meant to be a husband or you're meant to be a wife. Okay. So now we're moving on to astrology, guys. Of course, you know, Vedic astrology is my preference, but the energy should read about the same. So let's see what we've got going. Why is pile number 2 alive? What did their soul want to experience? All right, Earth stability, right? Especially with that number 4 represented there. So you do want a stable home life, you know. Let's keep going. Saturn truth, yeah, Capricorn. It's so interesting because there's a lot of, wow, look, 7th house partnerships. Woo, okay. You're meant to experience a long-term commitment, a long-term relationship, and you're meant to build with somebody. So I'd imagine that there's definitely another twin, you know, you could be a twin flame, a twin soul. And then Jupiter abundance, that's beautiful. You're also meant to experience a lot of blessings, a lot of traveling and exploration, right? At times, it was difficult, Virgo, I analyze. Okay, so Mercurial ruled, and then we got solar eclipse revolution. So why is number 2 alive? All right, so like everything, you know, life is complicated. If you were born and you're here watching tarot and you're into spirituality, I'm sure that you've had a complicated kind of life. Saturn and Jupiter aren't the best of friends. So it's just like there's a lot of blessings, but they're kind of hanging like in this piñata, and you're constantly swinging at it, swinging at it, swinging at it, swinging at it. And then eventually it will break, but you're swinging at it, swinging at it, swinging at it, swinging at it. Some of you, I imagine that like your Saturn return was vital to your happiness. So if you're younger, then that's okay. But Saturn return in Vedic astrology starts around 33 to 36. So 32 to about 36. Western says 27, and that's when it starts. But I find that to be a little too young for me and for the people that I've experienced. 27 is pretty young still. So around 32 to 36 is where you probably had a completely different life than you did when you started off with. I would imagine that life was either very, again, kind of like pile number 1. You got a lot of similar energies to pile 1, so maybe you pick both piles. But I really just get like there was a lot of stability, or you didn't have a lot of stability growing up, and then you were able to create that stability for yourself, right? And this probably happened through a partnership of some sort. So we have 4 represented here again, 11, 2 represented here again. What is this? 6 and 7. So again, you're in line, you're on the path, like you're walking through it. But like I said, there's a lot of blessings and stuff for you, but Saturn seems to block those blessings because you have had a lot of karmic debts due to other people. Your soul wanted to pay off debts when it comes to other people specifically. Some of you guys, you might even have your Venus in Virgo, which is detriment, or Venus in the 6th house, either in your D9 or either in your original natal chart or your D9 chart. Again, I'm speaking about Vedic. Vedic has a lot of divisional charts, which is super cool. But I just imagine that you have karma specifically to pay to a lover, to a partnership, in order to build. And so there's definitely highlights and lowlights. There's really good times and there's bad times. But the one thing that I can say, that you in your 20s versus you in your 40s is definitely a different individual, whether you've experienced it or not. If you haven't experienced it yet, then that would be my prediction for you. But if you've had like a very difficult kind of start, then life will really open up for you in your 30s. I promise. There'll be a lot of changes. You'll be a completely different person. And again, whether you started off in this lifetime with instability, by the time you complete your Saturn return, if you have, paid your karmas or whatever, I'm assuming that you're doing the work because you're here. But if you finish paying off those karmas, then you will be financially secure, financially stable. You will have more, than you need, abundant. You will be able to share. You will be in a committed long-term partnership. I imagine that your soul really craves a groundedness, a very earthy energy, just wants to be happy. You know what I'm saying? Wants to walk into a clean home, wants to walk into a clean environment, because maybe you've experienced what it's like to not have that. So it's very imperative for you because you've come from a lot of hardship. You've experienced a lot of responsibilities from a young age. I'm definitely a hard worker, and have definitely had karma when it's come into your 7th house. You could have Saturn in the 7th, 11th, or the 3rd house. So you definitely are owed to people. That is why you're alive, to kind of pay back some karmas to people. And then you get it back in return, right? So yeah, you seem to have social obligations. So maybe it's been difficult for you to make friends. It's been difficult for you to stay in long-term commitments. It's been difficult for you. You had school for some of you. It was difficult for you to finish primary education, any of that stuff. The 2 of Wands. 2s are so important. But you came to experience full-on commitment. And you will get that. You will get the commitment, right? Yeah, that's what your soul wanted to experience, was partnership, especially with the 3 Gemini twice. The Geminis are the twins, right? So the showing of it is 2 people, a male and a female, holding hands because they're, completing Adam and Eve. So you, as a Gemini energy, if you have Gemini in your chart, or you have third house placements, or Rahu, Ketu, and Gemini, Sag, this is all telling me that you came to this life because you want to experience being with another person. But I'm sure as heck that that's been hella difficult for you to be able to keep that. Wow, the Empress, beautiful. You're rising like the Phoenix. Again, it really is meant to balance out. And again, we have these flames. So you have all this passion energy, but it's been grounded. I really do think probably in a past life, you were a hell of a business person. You were a hell of a leader. You were a hell of a ruler. But the thing about that is, as great as it is, you almost always have to step on people in order to be phenomenal and to be great. People, okay, I hear it. If you decide to disagree with me in the comment section, like, you can make it to the top without stepping on anybody. Okay, if that's what you feel and that's how you think that, people made it to the top, if you think Beyonce didn't have to step on anybody to be Beyonce, if you think Chris, I was about to say, if you think that Prince didn't have to step on anybody to be Prince, if you think Michael Jackson didn't have to step on anybody to be Michael Jackson, if you think Jeff Bezos didn't have to step on anybody, if you think Oprah didn't have to step on anybody to be great, then you can keep that theory as long as the cow comes home. But as far as who I'm talking to, as far as the people that I know who understand power dynamics, you almost always have to step on people in order to be at the top. A pyramid is shaped like this for a reason. So I'm saying that to say it makes sense to why you came into this life having really difficult relationships with people, because you were extremely successful in a past life. It's interesting because I wasn't expecting past life to come up so strongly in this reading, but it happened in the first one, and it makes sense to me as to why that would happen. But certainly we have the Empress here. You definitely owe it to some people. You might have been like, you know, I put them out of business to set up shop here, and now I like feel bad. So you just probably have had very difficult relationships with people. But again, getting back to the Empress, so some of you might have been a male in a past life and now you're a female for some of you, because again, you are meant to experience pregnancy in this lifetime. You are meant to certainly be a mother. And again, if you're not a feminine, if that's not on the list, then that's okay. Just don't take it. Alrighty. Yeah, the Princess of Wands. So there seems to be like a very strict maturing. And that's the other thing that Saturn represents. Sorry, guys, this light is really... Can I fix it? I think it's okay. Okay. That didn't help at all, but we're just gonna pretend like it did. All right, but I really do feel like there's a level of maturing, you know, starting with this Princess and moving to the Empress, especially with the Saturn return and stuff. You go from being very childlike to being extremely responsible I mean, I guess 10 years isn't quickly, but if people aren't with you on your everyday journey, they'd be like, wow, you turned out so different than I originally expected. Ha! The Lovers, more Gemini energy, of course, right? So again, right under that too. So you're meant to experience relationships. That's what your soul wanted to, that's why you are alive, right? And we got Gemini right there. The Five of Swords. Again, just highlighting that rising like the phoenix. It's been hardships. 10 of Pentacles. So, and then again, backing up that Virgo energy. So some of you guys could have Rahu or Ketu in Virgo, Pisces. Rahu, Ketu in Gemini or Sagittarius are the strongest ones that I'm picking up on right now. The Wheel of Fortune. Boom. Yeah, so some of you, your soul really came to meet a lover, go through a twin flame. I would definitely say it's probably a twin flame relationship that goes on and on and on. It's probably very long. Yeah, the Five of Cups, the Five of Swords. There's been a lot of hardship. There's been a lot of difficulties. Venus and Aquarius surrounding friends, surrounding loved ones, surrounding lovers, but you've had to overcome it and rebuild yourself each time that you hit a wall. But I do feel like somewhere in your 30s, you either met or you're going to meet somebody who... And if your 30s is too late, you're like, I'm not past 30, I haven't met this person, then it'll be in your 50s is what I'm hearing with the 2 5s. It'll be in your 50s. So that's kind of like the 2 windows of opportunity that I feel like you have. But you'll have a life-changing lover who completely like forces you to mature, who completely changes your thinking about life, friends, the pursuit of happiness, and you end up having to rise. But again, you are certainly meant to experience wealth in this lifetime. The 10 of Pentacles. You are not meant to be broke. Doesn't matter where you came from. Does not matter where you started. And one reason that you are alive is to, again, be wealthy. Wow, the 6 of Pentacles. And also be charitable and give away that wealth. We have the 3 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. I really do feel like you were a powerful person in one of your past lives. I'm being drawn to the Mars and Scorpio. In your past life, in your most recent past life, you definitely were very scrappy. You know, you started off probably very from humble beginnings, and you definitely made yourself into a beast of a person. So you have a lot of business savvy. So it's easy for you to make business decisions, but business is very harsh. It can be very difficult. So I do feel like your spirit wants to experience wealth again in this lifetime, but not in the same way that it got it in the last lifetime. And I feel like either your partner is going through that lifetime where they're kind of very scorpionic. Some of you might have Jupiter in Scorpio, or you have Mars in Scorpio again, but some of the people that you attract are really get it how you live it. So you could end up dating people who, not to throw anybody under the bus, but just could be, you know, doing some activities that may or may not, you know, be, you know, legal. You know, we'll leave it at that. or people who are just so business focused that they're not able to see anything around them. So you might attract those kind of people. So you're always constantly feeling stepped on, particularly when you try to do business partnerships with other people. You're like, why can't anybody work with me? Why does it always fall through my fingertips? I really feel like that is past karmas from past lives. But the good thing is, again, once you are able to set those debts straight, I do feel like you do end up coming out on top. Taurus, Virgo energy. So you end up experiencing a lot of luxuries. But I will say the one thing about this lifetime is even when you get the luxuries, your soul isn't really here for... Your soul knows deep down that money doesn't solve everything. It just wants to be able to experience this life comfortably. So if I told you, pile number 2, you will hit your financial goals. You will be a financial guru, whatever the heck. That is not a question, but will you be able to be necessarily quote unquote happy? That's going to be dependent on how you look at it and kind of the relationships that you form outside of yourself. Because there is a really strong connection and you're only as strong as your twin. So you really have to be careful with who your energy ends up getting intertwined with and doing the work to stand firm on your own, but also knowing that you are really kind of chained to somebody else in this lifetime. So that's really interesting. I do feel, again, with the 6 of Pentacles, after defeat, after hardships, you want to be charitable. So I would hope, I have a lot of Aquarius energy myself, so of course I would say something like this, but I really do feel like after you do get the riches, after you do get what it is, your soul, one of the reasons that you're alive is to give back to the communities that you came from, is to provide resources specifically for youth, specifically for young people that were in your situation before you kind of broke that Saturn pinata and received your blessings. I do think that your soul really wants to give back. If you don't give back, then you will not be satisfied. You will still find yourself to be unhappy. So your life, while you're alive, is really kind of a charitable one. It's about you to set these karmas back from past business deals, past lives, yada, yada, yada. And then it's meant to experience luxury. And then it's kind of meant to give it back to the people and help people out of their own situations. Because you really have like a karmic debt to the people, to the population. So that's really, really, really strong, But I just imagine that you turn your life around from wherever your childhood was, good, bad, and different. You end up changing your life completely around by the time it's all said and done. And I do see a very heavy dominant presence of a twin flame in a way that I did not see in the first pile. So you are definitely linked to somebody who I'm sure that you'll be running into. I'm getting a movie Hancock, so you might feel like you're in a perpetual Hancock movie where you keep running into the same soul, the same soul, the same soul, different body, same soul, same body, same soul. Like it just keeps happening because you and that person have a very strong soul contract. But yeah, so this is, like I said, I'm still feeling like this is like an adolescent lifetime. So I do think that there's more lifetimes ahead of you, but this one, your soul really wants to give back, really wants to experience a different experience than childhood, change their life around, and then give back to the community and kind of be like a pillar of hope. But there's definitely constant death and rebirth. Okay. All right. Let's move into your oracle cards, pile number 2. Really powerful reading. Please let me know if this resonated in the comment section, or, drop a like, please. I would appreciate that so much. So, the Dragon's Lair, 19. So we got 10, 1. So, yeah, you're definitely slaying dragons, slaying demons. I imagine that you might have K2 in the first, K2 in the 7th, which will also put Rahu in the first or Rahu in the 7th, or in any of the social houses, the 3rd house, the 7th house, or the 11th house. I would imagine that your Rahu K2 could be in any of those houses. Yeah. So you did come to slay some demons and go into the thick of things. Again, like I said, you're a trailblazer. You're very brave. Pile number 2. Sorry, I got confused on where I was, but you're very brave. And I will say you have gone where other people haven't gone, particularly from your family and your childhood. That's how you're able to completely turn your life around and turn into a real, like a millionaire for some of you guys. If $1 million is what you want, $1 million is what you will get. And it's because you've done things that original trailblazer. You went places where people wouldn't dare go before, but it's because your soul has been obligated to play that back. So that is why your soul is alive, to experience danger to an extent. Oh, wow. Ghost lands. Whew. We got 178. So you're meant to put your nose to the grindstone, but at certain times, you just feel like, man, some of you guys are definitely K2 in the first. But I just feel like at times there's just like nobody around. Like, you're just like, where is everybody? I feel like everybody stabbed me in the back. I feel like nobody's here. But mind you, you're experiencing this with another soul, right? So you're never actually really alone, even when you feel like nobody's around. So some of you guys, like I said, your social lives, your relationships, your partnerships, your business partnerships, your friendships, they just seem to like move like sand, you know, but it's to pay back that debt. But I promise you, once Saturn moves, I guess I can't promise, but I really feel super strongly that once Saturn moves, and you hit that Saturn return, your life changes so much and you won't be experiencing that. And then, yeah, movement. What did I say? Movement. 2, 8, 10, 10, 1, 1 again. So just new beginnings are meant to experience in this life. You know, I do just imagine that like there are some very difficult times in your life where you feel like nobody understands you, nobody's able to really help be with you or you know, help you along on that journey. But at the same time, you're so brave to keep moving and again, cross boundaries that people wouldn't dare do before because they're too afraid. So you are just on rockets. So if you are experiencing these like down periods where you feel like you don't know anybody or you feel lost, just understand that that is a part of why your soul is here, and it will improve. You're not meant to stay on that journey forever. Oh wow, you got interesting animal cards. So dragonfly magic. I embrace my transformation. I courageously let go of the past. The magic of nature is in me. I am brilliant and I am blessed. I love the dragonfly. I love that lotus. You know, you blooming in tough circumstances, right? Humpback whale singer. Sing healing songs for the world. Your inner navigation always guides you. Nothing can stop you or keep you from your goal. Align with your purpose and the power of your soul, right? So there are moments where you do have to align. You, Pile 2, at this point, probably have to do the most work to align with yourself because it can seem so like life has been a punishment when it's come to friendships, people, places, things, because they just disappear. But I promise you it's because you experienced such a level of success in a past life that you just got to pay it back. The universe is neutral. The universe is not judged either way, and karma works over lifetimes. So this is why your soul is here, to pay off those past debts. It wasn't that you were a bad person at all. You just had a different set of priorities in your lifetime. It was survival, and in this lifetime it's to really be a nurturer. So the complete opposite, right? So then we got moose wisdom. Let your head and mind reach to the stars, yet keep your feet grounded on earth. Listen to the ancient wisdom in your soul. Your ancestors speak through you. You know much, and I think that that's so important for you to know, is that you are wise and that you have had a lot of experiences, and you really, as long as you're listening to your inner guidance system, you will always be able to move in the right direction, you know? And then finally, which I absolutely adore, you got sea otter happiness. Be the master of playful living. Release expectations and enjoy every day. Let worry go and instead choose love. Surrender to the waves. Your good destiny of love is sure. So right, good destiny of love. Again, after you move the Saturn return, after you pay off these karmic debts, your soul is meant to be happy, believe it or not. After what we just went through, your soul is actually meant to be happy. And you're meant to experience, you know, love, right? We got these two otters here. So there is a twin for you. We got these two energies here. There is a twin for you. There is a twin for you, right? You're meant to experience love, but there is major work that you have to do before that happens. So just be prepared for that journey. Do not take any situations, friendships, people, lovers as failures, because there's just karmic debt. But once that Wheel of Fortune comes, you're going to be in such a giving and happy space. Your life will not end anywhere near where it started pile number 2. So that is why you're alive, to truly pay off these social karmic debts. And I think that you are doing it. And then after it's done, you'll be happy, and then you become super charitable. That is what I would have to say. That's what I would have to say. So please let me know if I got this right, if it sounds like it's on par. If not, then maybe try another pile, or maybe this just isn't your reading. That is okay. Take what resonated, leave what doesn't. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your continued support. I so appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment. Follow me on TikTok and on Instagram. I've been chilling over there, guys, and I appreciate each and every one of you so, so, so much. And yeah, thank you. Peace. Until next time. All right, so let's get this together. And then, yeah, we can move this here. All righty, so now we are moving to pile number 3. Hello, pile number 3. This is AD with Astrology, and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading. So thank you so, so much for joining me. I appreciate you. So today, this pick a card reading is going to be about why am I alive? Interestingly enough, pile 3, this has really been such an array. It's dealt with past life, it's dealt with karmas, and of course, I come to all my readings pretty open, pretty blind, so I'm excited to see what comes up for you guys. So we're just going to be looking into why are you alive? Why did your soul choose to incarnate? What lessons are you supposed to be learning? What are you supposed to be doing? And, you know, yeah, that's it. It's been so unique for the 2 piles that I've done. But yeah, so we got this Yuga card, Shredder. Interesting, because I think Shredder was for pile 3 before for another reading. That doesn't matter, but just a little shout out if you keep up with me. You know what I'm saying? But I really just feel like with the Shredder energy, this lifetime was really to just completely like let go of the past, like shred it. You know, like it's just like ending, ripping it apart. So let's see how that plays in. I thought that was such an interesting card. But we're going to start off with some numbers to see if we can get life path numbers. And if this, you know, is on alignment to what you're doing. It might not be your exact life path number, but it should be a similar one. So let's see what cards we have come out for the life path number for pile number 3. 1. 1. Bum, 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 bum. I don't know why I just got like... I did get a whole bunch of energy for you. 1 second, let me sip my coffee. But pile number 1, maybe it is I'm at pile number 3 with life path number 1. You're definitely supposed to make a name for yourself. There's something here about building an ego. This is Aries energy. That's the sun represented. So Leo energy. But, you know, you're supposed to be number 1 at something. So maybe you have a very competitive spirit, Aries energy, like I said. Mars, Scorpio energy too. But number 1 is all about doing its own thing, stepping out there and being kind of not necessarily a rebel, but a leader, okay? So, yeah, definitely leadership. Alrighty. So we got 2, partnership. You're meant to experience partnership. We have Taurus represented here, the 2nd house also. So it could be luxury, but 2 is all about harmony, balance, connection. So that's really beautiful. Oh, 10. So lifetime path number 10 doesn't actually exist, so it takes us back to 1. So I'm already getting this super interesting I guess what it is, dichotomy between the 1 and the 2. It's like, and here we have 6 at the bottom of the deck. So it's life path number 6, and again with harmony. So you're independent fiercely, but yet you're meant to experience connectivity. So let's see what this last number is, and it is 5, Leo, and also creativity. And then we have 7 finally at the bottom of the deck. So partnerships. Leo, Aries, and then like, you know, Taurus, Pisces, Leo, Aries, Taurus, Libra, like that's kind of what I'm getting. 10th house Capricorn. So really, really interesting because those are contradictory. So we'll see. You know, you're meant to stand out from the crowd. You're meant to bust out of any expectations that people are ahead of you. But at the same time, you're meant to learn how to compromise and work with others. So let's get into the astrology, guys. Pile 3, you're already making me laugh because this is interesting. Please keep in mind that I do subscribe to Vedic, so my placements could be different, but the energy should read about the same. So why did pile number 3, why is pile number 3 alive? The sun. Wow, sun card, spirit. You're meant to shine. Shine like the sun. 1 again. And I love this because this has happened throughout all the piles. So that's really exciting for me. Scorpio, transform. I mentioned that Mars energy, right? So you are meant to go through a lot of changes through this lifetime. You're meant to survive. 2, wow, 20. So 2, 1, 2 again. Woo! I'm honestly really excited to get into your cards, pile number 3. I am so curious to see what your cards are going to say. 8th house, beginning, more Scorpio energies. So, even with the 10, now that I'm, you know, like really looking at it, 10s represent a sign of completion with that 1, 0. So you're constantly in this position where you have to reinvent yourself, where it seems like you'll be at the top of the mountain and then all of a sudden it gets shot to shiz and then you have to rebuild and climb up the mountain. But the one thing that I will say with all this 1 energy, and the 5 energy, this Leo, this Aries, you do it. You do it every time. Every time shiz hits the plane, you're constantly like, okay, that didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, but I'm just going to go ahead and figure out a new plan, a new strategy. But you're constantly in this flux of endings and beginnings, death and rebirth, death and rebirth. Yeah. So real extremes. So yeah, you definitely experience some sort of extremes in your lifetime. And some of you guys, it could be physical, like death, like where deaths have followed you. But for others of you, it's not that. It's just things around you seem to fall apart. It might not be physical death all the time. You know, spirit is creative with how he can be ripping stuff from you. Okay, and then we got fire element, desire. So again, Sagittarius, Aries, Leo. So there's a lot of red. There's a lot of passion here. There's red in every one of these freaking cards. And so you just have a lot of wants. And I do feel like you are... you have a lot of, you know, you have a lot of wants, you have a lot of desires, you also probably have a lot of secrets, pile number 3, but you're willing to kind of do what has to be done in order to get what you want, especially with that Scorpio. This is definitely a survivor energy. I'm a survivor, I ain't gonna give up. And we got Jupiter return, benefits. So certainly meant to be blessed. Cancer, I feel kind of at the bottom of the deck. So you might have strong moon placements or any of these other placements. But yeah, it really works out. You're constantly ending to begin, because I do think we have 49 represented here. So that's 13. 13. Death right in the middle of it. So there, you just experience like these like poop, boop, like these highs and these lows in a sense. Where you'll be at the top of the world, and then like I said, then it ends up faltering. But then by the time you rebuild yourself, it's even better than it was the last time. So you could have a Scorpio rising for some of you guys, or you have maybe your first house ruler in the 8th house. I know I have that personally. So I just imagine that you're constantly going through changes and extremes. Let's get into your cards. But I really love the Jupiter return benefits, because you do end up getting a lot of benefits. As difficult and up down as it is, and as much as spirit has like pulled you to the wire, every time you come out stronger, better, because like, you know, I'm really getting this image of like, I guess military is probably the best way to describe it. It's like there's like a rope, you know, where you're constantly trying to climb this rope, and you get up there and then something happens and you end up falling, and your face just gets more and more determined to hit that freaking rope no matter what. You do not let shiz go, pile number 3. So even though you fall, you will get back up and be like, I'm going to keep climbing this rope until I ring that bell. I don't care, and it's just about me. So there's a lot of Scorpionic energies. I just got really intense. So your lifetime is very intense, I'd have to say, because you will not fail. You will not take failure as an option. Your ego will not allow it. Your passion will not allow it. Your desire will not allow it. And so you're constantly falling off that rope. But you will prove to yourself. You will prove to the universe. You will prove to God. Again, we have 5 here. 3, 7, 10 again. So 5 and 10. So just backing it, backing it up. It's just like you are determined to live the life that you envision for yourself, and because of that, you will be rewarded abundantly. You don't have to worry about that. So just keep getting up, keep climbing that rope. Do not give up is what I have to say. That your soul did not want to give up. Oof. Lord. Okay, so we got the King of Pentacles represented here, the 5 of Cups, and the 10 of Pentacles. So You know what I'm about 3. I guess I can speak. I hope that I'm not bleeding into this reading, but I feel like this is a very interesting reading. Anyways, it feels like masculine energy has really disappointed you, particularly when it comes to finances and resources. You've definitely had to be the one in this lifetime to assume into that masculine role and really provide for yourself. So there could have been an absentee father. You attracted lovers who are not able to help you. You've just really had to be fiercely independent when it's come to like living your own life and providing a way for yourself. The one thing that I will say with the 10 of Pentacles here, actually we'll keep going, but sometimes you are meant to experience extreme wealth. Now, it might leave at times because of everything else that we have. But I'm sure that if you lost all your money, you would get it back tenfold. And then if you lost it, then you get it back 50-fold. Then you get it back 100-fold. Like, it's kind of like that energy. So you're really, ooh, I just got chills. Pile 1, you are alive to understand that nothing is permanent and you are really meant to learn how to let go. Your soul wants to learn how to let go of things. It's very giving me Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars, where like the entire, especially in the prequels, where like he's just very, very, very stuck on his mother being alive. And then, you know, that doesn't work out. So then he goes ballistic. He wants Padme to be there, you know, in secret, his secret lover, and then that goes ballistic when that doesn't happen. He really has an issue with control. So in this lifetime, you're supposed to release the desire of control and just learn how to accept things. When you get really fixated on controlling a situation, pile 3, that is when everything gets shots to shiz. You know, so you really are learning how to tune into the waves. And at the same time, like pile 2, you know, I really heard Buddhism and all this other stuff too. You might too like to learn the element specifically of letting go from Buddhist teachings, because there's a level of control that's wanted here. Okay. And then we have the Magician and the Tower card. So it's interesting to see the Tower in the middle. No, it's not. Not with all these other cards. The Tower card being in the middle of this is not interesting at all. In fact, I could have put my bottom on. I'm not surprised. Because like I said, I feel like it's really sudden. Like I said, you get to the top and then it just falls and it crumbles. And we're going to end on a positive note because I feel like this is positive again with the Jupiter return. But your soul just came to experience extremes. I just feel like you really signed on for like one of the most difficult rope courses. And it's secret stuff. It's not anything that's outwardly like, it's so difficult to explain because I do not want to compare anybody's journeys because they're all so specific. But if somebody was just like, oh, I was an orphan, right? Everybody's like, oh, that's sad that you were an orphan. Like, that's universally sad. Your stuff is like, I wasn't an orphan, but like I don't know. I'll just say father because the King of Pentacles is here. My father was just like unexpectedly left and went to go marry somebody else. That hurts too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not an easy thing either. So I just imagine like when you tell people what you've been through, people are really surprised and shocked because it is difficult, but it's not like outwardly the most, what we traditionally, focus on or emphasize, you know? So it's just like you've gone through hardships, you've gone through difficulties, specifically surrounding money, finances, and all that good stuff, that really has put you in tight, sticky situations. But again, you survived like with nothing. You might have had freaking 2 quarters in your pocket, but you figured out how to eat, period. Very scrappy kind of energy, extremely scrappy. But yeah, just a lot of death and rebirth, reinvention. Ah, the Queen of Wands, period. I love it. And then, of course, we got the 3 of Swords to the 3 of Cups. So strong 3s, 33 represented. So you could have a life path number 3 as well. And then let's get one last card. And the 7 of Cups, interesting. And then at the bottom, oh, told you, I knew it. I was just like, the underlying energy here is the 6 of Wands. So victory, like you always, always, always come out on top. It's honestly magical. You really do well, sadly. And like, you know what? I just got the image of the Scorpio. You may or may not have Scorpio in your chart, but you certainly have to have 8th house placements at least, or 2nd house placements. I just feel like Scorpios, I get the imagery of like they live in the toughest conditions, right? The desert. Who the freak wants to live in the desert? You know, it's hot and it's like terrible, but they thrive in tough conditions, pile 3. So I really get this energy where you really do well in kind of the toughest climates, the toughest conditions. I just heard when the going gets tough, the tough get going. That's you. If you could tattoo something on your forehead, put it on your daggone grave when you find, like when you die, whenever that is, as if you haven't died 1,000 times before. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like that's really not funny, but I relate to this pile so much, and I was just like, yeah, I've definitely died. My soul has definitely left my body. But then I woke up the next morning like, how did this happen? But it's just like when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I do imagine that you've experienced a lot of loss when it's come to friendships, when it's come to connections around you. People just kind of disappear. You know, you think that you're looking at one thing and then it ends up being a snake. You think that you're picking up a reef and then it ends up being a demon. Like, I just feel like you always end up in these situations where you're like, ugh, I'm so surprised, I'm caught off guard, particularly when it comes to masculine energy. There just seems like there's like a forever surprise, you know, is kind of what I'm getting. But you always, again, when you've been faced with hardship, these are really heavy cards, right? When you've been faced with them, you've been able to manifest, and again, Queen of Wands come out on top. So some of you, Leo energy, very strongly creative, you know, maybe you need, right, heartache in order to create. You know, your best work has come out of devastation, particularly if you're like a singer or an artist or any of that stuff. You function really well in misery. Like, misery is a strong word, but it's not. Like, you just function well in very difficult climates, in deserts. So I guess, why are you alive? I would say that it came to, I don't know. I think you just wanted the challenge, to be honest. I think that you wanted the challenge of life. You were like, throw me whatever. I know it's like a test of God. You know what is it? Is it the book of Job? Is it Job that God just like bullies for no reason? Just to prove to the devil that like he still believes in him. It's one of those situations. It's not nearly as extreme where like everybody dies and like nobody's around you. But like I said, you end up in these predicaments and you still choose magic. Some of you guys are super magical. I do want to clarify the King of Pentacles, because this masculine energy is very interesting. What did I do with my clarification deck? Okay, there it is. I was like, where did I put it? I just be losing stuff, yo, all the time. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing good. All right, so let's see. Can we clarify this King of Pentacles for pile 3 too? Spirit, why does the King of Pentacles play a part in this reading? The 5 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, and then one more. The 2 of Pentacles. It's money. It's always money. You know, I know that this sounds crazy. Yeah, the 7 of Swords. Oh, it's not crazy at all. It's kind of what Spirit is saying to me. And the King of Swords. You have to be so careful with masculines in your finances, pile number 3, excuse me. Because I just feel like there's something here about a debt that is definitely a karmic debt. So Rihanna, for instance, she, before Fenty and all this stuff was super popping, her accountant like stole the mess out of her money. Like, you need to know business, especially if you let men handle your money or masculines handle your money. I don't care what gender you are watching this. You have to be sure to like keep track of your finances, particularly if you end up getting married or you end up like, it came out like this, right? Yeah. Particularly if you end up getting married and all the other stuff, you will just, there is karmic money financial debt that ends up coming from a masculine. So I don't know why you're alive to experience this. Maybe this is just like a past life energy that you've had to deal with, but there's something here about masculines. And for some of you guys, it could be your father. It's just, there's something here about you receiving money and masculines trying to scrupulously take it from you in some way. So that's a part of your karma. That's a part of, you know, your time, your time. So your time here on this earth. So with the 9 of Pentacles, this is more of a warning. Please, 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 pile number 3, make sure that you always have a stash for yourself, because I'm telling you here, your soul has come to survive in kind of difficult treasures, right? You always, difficult deserts. I said treasures, deserts, but your desert turns into treasure. It really does every time. You end up coming up every time. But when you deal with certain masculines, you always need to have a stash of money for yourself at all times. You of all people need a rainy day fund for real, because you could be having experience extreme wealth, and then all of a sudden it just like leaves. So maybe you have K2 in the 12th house, K2 in the 2nd house, K2 in the 7th. You could have in the 8th also, or Rahu in any of those places, which would give K2 to the opposite. So there will be times where you will have like extreme abundance, extreme money, and then there will be other times where like you will not have as much money as you had, and it will be because of a masculine. It'll be because of a father, a husband, a son, something like that. There seems to be a karma with that. That's so weird. Not weird. Weird is not the right word, but I just want to look. I just want to see if I can get 3 more cards on that to see like, what is that? Ironically, this is probably like the most straightforward reading out of all of them. So your life is pretty much on go. Like you're just full steam ahead. Like I said, and if it doesn't work out and it fails, then you're like, whatever. You know, so it's really funny. The Page of Wands and the Page of Swords. Okay, to the Judgment card. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Yeah. The Six of Wands and the World card. And then you got the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So, whew. At different points in your time, yeah, again, this is just reiterating. At different points in your life, you will have to be forced to like walk away from certain situations. You know, you're meant to follow your intuition. Some of you, your soul is meant to receive world recognition with the Six of Wands to the World card here. You'll be a worldwide name, but at certain points you are going to have to leave a lot. Like you'll be in a place and then you'll suddenly have to go somewhere else. You'll have to move somewhere else. Then you have to go somewhere else. Like there's always something happening. I know for me personally, I have Rahu in the 4th house. So like I'm never really stable. I'm always like constantly going somewhere. So you could end up having something like that. But again, each time that you go somewhere and you reinvent yourself, you come out even stronger and even better and even more on top. So there is, like I said, a really strong independent streak, but yet there is a Two of Cups energy here where like you are, again, kind of like pile number 2, are meant to experience this life with somebody else. There is a partner here, but I do imagine that like the contract that you have for each other is like there's something here about money. There's something here about finances that will play a role into that partnership. So perhaps you could find yourself in relationships where you're making a lot more money than the person that you are married to, or vice versa. Some of you, I know me, I'm on the fence about getting married. You know, you might want to pull an Oprah, boom, you know, that kind of, that energy is like that. And yeah, you probably will be, I feel like another reason you're alive is like because you're meant to kind of be this provider. You might be, you might make more money than the person that you are linked to. And at times that might be difficult for the connection. It might cause some upsets. And at times you might have to walk away from the connection. But I would definitely make sure that you keep your money to yourself. Like you will have to marry for business. You have to marry with business first thing in mind. But again, even if it's not your physical partner, then you have to watch your accountants. You'll have to watch people who handle your money, pile number 3, especially if you are a female. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. So we got Sacred Pool. That's beautiful. 47. 4 plus 7. What does that get us to? 9, 11, which gets us to 2. So there is partnership here. And I do think that you're meant to learn serenity. You know, there is a sacred energy for you. You will always land somewhere where you're able to find peace, no matter how much chaos that you're in. You'll always be able to find peace because you are loved, but your soul is alive in order to experience these extremes, you know, because I guess, you know, being dead is boring after a while. You know, like I said, if you want peace, then you could have been a tree. You could have been a blade of grass. You could have been a dog. My dog chills all day. Like, this is not it. She has her little issues, but she chills all day. So if you wanted it to kind of if you wanted an easy life, then you wouldn't have incarnated. You know what I'm saying? In general, there's nothing easy about life. So just know that this is sacred. You know, you are meant to always find a place. And I do imagine that when things happen, you should definitely go by water. You should definitely find yourself by the sea, especially with all this blue energy here. And then we got encouragement. And I love this 2 giraffes that are coming together. And I'm being drawn to children. So you might have like 2 children. We got 5 represented here, 9 again. And protecting treasure. Didn't I accidentally? Protect your wealth, pile number 3, please. Look at this. She is really protecting her money. Like, if you earned your money, do not give it away. Please. that is screaming at me. You guys got a different bit of a reading than the other piles. But yeah, you might end up having like unexpected children or something like that. Or like maybe you didn't necessarily see yourself as a parent, but then your children are really going to be your rock, you know, particularly through the relationships that you go through. All relationships go through ups and downs, but because finances seem to be an in and out issue in your connections, you're just meant to do better than the people that you're with. Your children are going to be the one, you know, the 1 or 2 people who really don't judge you. Yeah, and I'm being drawn to this bunny rabbit. Like, they're able to see you, particularly, again, if you end up being known and having, like, a lot of success and a lot of people know your name and all this good stuff. You know, you're going to want somebody who's not kissing your ass, who's not just trying to be fake. And I think that your kids are going to be the realest things to you. You know, they're going to encourage you more than anything else because it's a little baby giraffe. So those are going to be really, like, you know, and again, even with number 5, that's Leo, lioness energy, 5 ruled parents. So you're meant to be a mother or a father. You're definitely meant to have like 2 little kids or something that are going to help you along with this journey and really keep you strong. I think that that's going to be your priority. But just mind you, there's been difficulties. You know, I will say jealousy has definitely played a part. There's just so many things that are up in the air. But like I said, the biggest thing is for your soul to learn why you are alive is to really learn how to let go. It's to learn how to let go. Yeah, so we got, wow, pronghorn action. Now is the time to act. Opportunities are here. Move forward with confidence. Your talents will always help you land on the pinnacle. Your quick wit and keen senses will lead you to success. You will always be successful. Like, that is not the problem. And you're quick, you're smart, you're able to survive. That is really the beautiful thing. And you'll always end up with opportunities. When you think all is lost, you will end up coming back and just blowing everything out of the water, you know? So this is really awesome, but it's definitely your lifetime movie. Your E True Hollywood story will be interesting. Do you hear me, pile number 3? It'll not be a cakewalk by any means, but I'm assuming that that's how you want it. I'm assuming that your soul didn't want anything to just be handed to them, okay? So you got Goose, inner knowing. You are a brave traveler. Your soul knows the way. Be confident you will achieve your destination. Loyal friends are always with you. Don't worry. You are blessed. Let yourself fly. I really appreciate that loyal friends are always with you, because there are going to be friends, but it's not going to be a lot. You know, my grandma always told me this when I was growing up. She's like, it's lonely at the top. And I do feel, pile number 3, you're at the top. So the people who you know are for you are really for you, but there's going to be a lot of people who aren't. And you're going to have to be able to use your inner knowing, your, again, your quick wit, your keen senses, your intuition to be able to sort out the fake from the not fake. But the one thing that you will have is probably like your direct family and also like your children. They're gonna really think you're the bee's knees. Oh wow. And then we finally got hummingbird miracles. You are the joy bringer. You bless the world with positivity and love. Energy soars on your shining wings. Spread the miracles of happiness. So I think that that's what your soul really wants to do, is just be happy, spread happiness, spread blessings, and let people know that no matter what you've been through, you will always come out on top, particularly when it deals with masculine energies who are just not, you know, helping at certain points in time. I do think that every time you're just like, you know, it is what it is. I've learned to let go. I've learned that money means nothing. I've learned that everything that I have is beauty. I mean, I learned that me being myself, me believing in God, me believing in my purpose is the beauty of this world. And I don't have to challenge that, you know, for a second. So I really feel like those are the breaks, you know, and I think that you chose to really test that, right? There's no way that spirit, God, the universe would know that you truly mean, like, I know that money is not the most important thing, unless they gave you a whole bunch of it, took it away, and you still prayed to them just the same, right? So I think that that's kind of like your lifetime that you're on right now. So I would say that you're probably on one of your last lifetimes, definitely with ending on like that 9, and just recognition. I do feel like you're probably on your latter half, but this one is really going to be proving your dedication, you know, is really what your soul wanted to learn. So that's what I got for you, pile number 3. So thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Yeah, and I appreciate you so much. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram if you don't already, guys. Peace until next time. Alrighty, and then finally we are moving on to our last group, and I rarely ever do pile number 4. So if you pick pile number 4, this is rare. Let me take some coffee. But hi, pile number 4. This is AD with Cosmic Astrology, and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading. So this reading is about why are you alive? Why did your soul choose to incarnate? What lessons, what karmas, what are you supposed to learn? What are you supposed to take away from this lifetime? You know, there's so many different ways to answer this. I'm looking at tarot, but you know, there's so many different ways to answer this question just so you have some, you know, control. But it's interesting. We got the skyscraper card that came out. So I imagine I'm kind of take this as the tower. It's so funny. Me and my sister were looking through the cards earlier because I just got some brand new Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and we were laughing because we both started singing Demi Lovato's Skyscraper as soon as we saw this card. So we'll see if that ends up playing a role into it, but let's get into it, guys. I have to talk kind of fast because like I'm on a limited space, but I think that we have enough time. But thank you so much for joining me. So let's go. So first we're starting off with some life path numbers to see if these resonate at all. Oh, 11. That's a master number. It could be 2. It could reduce back down to 2. But 11 is all about like healing. It's also about being known. So there could definitely be fame involved. Oh, 7. So partnerships. 7 is definitely a very karmic, and I'm being drawn to that wheel. So I feel like you, like pile number 2, are probably like an adolescent soul. There's a lot of karma involved in this lifetime that you're meant to pay back and pay off, probably to society. I don't know why I'm seeing Aquarius. You could have Aquarius energy, and Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Rahu, which is literally a debt to society. Not inherently a bad thing. I have a lot of Aquarius energy. A lot of celebrities do, and that's why they're so charitable, because they owe it to society to be. So I imagine that some of you could be that, you know, but you could be a life number 11 or a life number 7. 1, Aries energy. So there definitely is a strong urge for leadership represented here. Oh gosh, and 1 again. So you might want to, yeah, and 9 at the bottom, Sagittarius. So you're meant to explore, but you were certainly meant to be a leader. Yeah, I feel like yours at this point, yours has to deal with other people, kind of like pile number 2. So it's so funny. 1 and 3 were definitely of self, and 2 and 4 are about other people. So that's fascinating. All right. So let's move into your astrology cards to see what we got. But 1, again, is about passion. It's about moving forward. 7 is about partnership, businesses. So it's kind of contradictory. And then with 11, it's about society at a whole. 2, again, just partnership. So you're constantly, I feel like, in between being selfish and selfless. That seems to be like why your soul is here. But let's keep going. Pulling astrology cards, guys. You know, I subscribe to Vedic, so my placements could be a little bit different, but the energy should read about the same. North Node, Rahu, boom. Not surprised. We got 5, so a lot of changes and stuff here. You could certainly be a creative, or like a hell of a business person. I'm honestly getting law for some of you too. 11th house friends, boom. Aquarius, what'd I say? Grand Cross Provoker, boom. Woo, yeah. So pile number 1, definitely, excuse me, I'm at pile number 4. I'm not even used to saying 4, guys. But you definitely have karma with friends, with people. You might have Scorpio in the 11th house, Saturn in the 11th house, Saturn aspecting the 11th house, or Mars in the 11th house. Any of those things. 12th house too. Escape. So you could experience some losses due to other people, right? Oof. Yeah, I'm getting this here. 2nd house owning. So you got a lot of astrology cards. We got Black Moon Lilith, 10th house, and the water element sensing. So it's interesting. Pile number 4, I do feel like your soul, another reason that you're alive is like you definitely are meant to be in a leadership position. If you don't plan on having fame, you do plan on having status. So it's both. Some of you are more the business oriented, but like if you're doing something, you're like, I'm going to be the best at what I'm doing. And you're kind of feeling it through and psychically. Others of you will be recognized on a world scale for what it is that you want to do. So that's another reason why you're alive, to be known. You will probably encounter shady characters though. Your discernment has to be on point, pile number 4. I just feel like your soul is very youthful, dare I say, I don't want to use this word because I don't want to seem like I'm attacking, but it could borderline naive, where people can take advantage of your kindness. And so you have to be very careful with snakes in the grass. You encounter a lot of snakes. And again, that could be some lifetime karma. You might want to watch pile number 2. It's not why they experience that isn't coming through as strongly with y'all, but it just seems like your soul is really learning in this lifetime that everybody is not your friend. Period. Like point blank, open and shut. Everyone is not your friend. It's so funny because I picked this Jesus deck. This is my Jesus deck. And when did Jesus learn? Who was sitting on that cross by himself? Jesus. He had 12 disciples, some of which were even his brothers, and they all were looking crazy. Paul turned on him, denied him. Judas turned him into the Federales. Like, this is a lot happening here. So I imagine that you've really had to learn that, like, your blessings are your own, and you've had to focus in on that, and like you've learned that you've attracted some shady characters. You know, I'm getting an image of Megan Thee Stallion. Like, she could probably, you know, pick this pile where like she's receiving fame and every accolades, but as soon as she got it, I mean, her friends are kind of shady. But then even when you look at her other stuff earlier, she had like some shadiness happen. So let's keep going. Ooh, oh my goodness. Got quite a few. The Ace of Wands. So I do feel like there could be a lot of competitive energy around you because you are a go-getter. You kind of move forward, and maybe you don't realize, sometimes, I guess to you, you might not realize how you can, how do I word this? Because you're so self-oriented, which isn't inherently a bad thing. I don't want to paint you to be bad. Everybody has their karma, you know, because you can be so self-focused, sometimes you can step on people's toes that you're not expecting to. Like, you know, it's just like if, like you might just lose friends for no reason. And then you find out years later that it'll be like, hey, why did you stop talking to me? And this friend will be like, well, because you had a pink party and you knew that I wanted to have a pink party. And you're like, really? I don't remember that conversation at all. You know, you're like, that's really wild that you would stop talking to me about that. But they're like, I told you my favorite color was pink, and then you went through this pink bash and now I've just been jealous. So that might be something that like follows you around and you're like, I didn't even notice that. It's very Aries. I'm an Aries moon, so I'm speaking with love when I say this. It's really not me finger waggling, but it's like, you can turn people off with just your aggressiveness, because in a sense, and I say aggressiveness not in a bad way, just with your masculinity, whether you're feminine or a masculine, because in this world we're conditioned not to be, right? We're conditioned to take the feminine role, and to just be like, oh, I get it, and kind of let things slide. But if you're a super masculine person, you charge through, and people are looking at you jealous, like, why did you do that? How come you did that? You're like, well, I just went ahead and do it. It'd be like, again, another example is just like, you know, you have a friend, you took a trip to Costa Rica, and then your friend just stops talking to you, and then you find out why, and they're like, well, you went to Costa Rica and like you never told me about it, you know, and you're just like, okay. So I will say that your soul is very, very youthful. Okay, so sometimes you have to really think about other people. 9, again, just backing that up, the 9 of Wands, where there's, you know, the 4 of Wands, all this wand energy, all this fire. So let's keep going. Like I said, I don't want to go over time. We got the Page of Swords. What is this? The Sun card. Boom. Ha! And that's the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ. So maybe you're a follower of Jesus Christ. You know, I do follow all kinds of other religions and all the other stuff, and I love the stories, but I really do sympathize with the story of Jesus Christ a lot. Like, I always bring him up. He's such a good I'm Catholic, so of course I think he's the one and only, you know, but in the grand scheme of things, I think he's at the very least a great prophet, because his story is just insane, and he was God's favorite, right? And like, you see how it turns out, and he loved him the most, and so you can see how it was such a turnoff to other people. Literally, society had turned against him at the time where he needed them most, only to die, to be reborn again, and we're still talking about this man. So it's just like, but when he was hanging on that cross singing, my God, why have you forsaken me? He was not thinking that he was going to completely change time as we know it, like literally changed time, how we calculate time. So I think that that's how impactful your life could be, but it gives me very much where like you're in the middle of it, where you might not see the impact that you're having because of the hostility that you have towards you. So very fascinating. The Knight of Pentacles. Ah, the 10 of Cups. Yay, I love it. The 10 hit in every which one. And then we got Strength. So you're definitely meant to kind of ride this. You are meant to ride this lifetime. My pile number 4 people, like a little solo dolo, you know. Yeah, the Death card. So there's a lot of endings and beginnings. You know, you definitely have had to suffer ego deaths to be rebought again. So yeah, you're definitely that 1-7 access. So you might have Rahu, K2 in the 1st or the 7th house, or in the social houses. So the 3rd, 7th, or 11th house is really what I'm getting. And we got the Knight of Wands at the bottom of the deck here. So there's a lot of fiery energy. So I'd almost say that, I would almost bet my bottom dollar that you are a Sag, Aries, Leo rising, or air, right? Yes, or air rising. So a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra rising. I really feel that very strongly. Or you have your Rahu K2 in that fire air access, because there just seems to be a lot of you are alive because you wanted to charge through this life and you wanted to prove to yourself that you can live and that you can live a life of success and you can find happiness, to the sacrifice and to the detriment of some of your social relationships though. So it's just like you get it, but then it's very lonely. Again, it's lonely at the top. And so I imagine that there's a lot of loneliness here, but you charge through your life a strong Aries energy. You could be Aries moon or something, where like you were just so forward moving that sometimes people around you can either feel some type of way, or you make people feel some type of way. Here's the thing. I guess the word of advice would be, you know, in this lifetime, to kind of make this easier, is really try to consider other people. I don't think that you mean any harm by it. I really don't, pal 4. I do not think that you're a menace. I don't think that you're a narcissist. I don't think that you're a person who's just so self-centered and so selfish that you don't care about anybody but yourself. But because you're so goal-oriented, you can piss other people off because you cut them out and they feel very left out. Some of you guys can completely hate what I'm saying right now and you want to cuss me out in the comment section. I guess that's fine. You have a lot of fire, so do what you do. But if this is something that you're like, why do relationships just leave me? Why am I always unsatisfied? Why am I always moving on to the next? Why are people just leaving me? If that's what it is, then in this lifetime you are really meant to try to look outside yourself and step into more of the Libra energy and think about other people in a balanced way, not in the low vibe Libra energy where you're only people pleasing in order to get what you want at the end, but genuinely trying to be fair. Some of you guys are definitely like that Aries Libra cusp. Like I get it. Some of you could be the Aries Libra eclipse, where this is very difficult, because I do think I have a lot of friends who are like that, who even have Mars in Libra, where they just end up with these contradictory energies, and they really do not understand why other people find them difficult to deal with after a while, and it's really because it's a very self-centered energy. Jesus Christ in Vedic astrology, in the one chart that I like for him, he was an Aries moon also. So it's not a bad thing. It's just we're in dark times. So selfishness is definitely not rewarded. Masculinity is really seen as a bad thing. You know, only so many people are allowed to be masculine in this life that we have. I mean, we're in dark times. I think we're ruled by the age of Rahu. So everything's just flipped around. So it's not completely your fault, but I just imagine that in this lifetime, Spirit really wants you to be less involved, less self-centered, and really start genuinely thinking of other people, not necessarily thinking of helping other people just so they'll help you in return, but just being an open person. And if you already feel like you're this way, then like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Pick another pile. You know, I'm here to talk to people who A, this relates to, and B, you know, want options on how to correct it, because this is pretty difficult. I imagine that there's a lot of endings, you know. You've definitely had to, I will say that your soul has encountered a lot of movement in some sort, or like you'll be going in one direction and things will move off course. Like you've experienced your own endings and beginnings, and you had to be a savior to yourself. You've had to slay dragons. You had to kill demons and all that good stuff. This has not been necessarily easy life for your own happiness, but you constantly are able to rebuild yourself and keep it pushing and keep it moving. And that's a beautiful thing. It's courageous. But if you want to improve your relationships, you have to really, really, really consider the other person in a way that outside of yourself. You know, you cannot just look at love. You can't look at friendships just through your eye lens. You have to do extra steps of communicating and talking, and not just forcing what you want on it, because I do imagine that you have a very strong dominant personality with the sun. Some of you guys can have Leo. I'm really getting Leo, Aries, and then there's some Sag thrown in here. But yeah, strong fire placements. And so, you know, people are very... I had a falling out with my best friend from childhood. And again, I'm an Aries moon, so I'm not, like I said, it's not anything bad. But I remember I had a friend in childhood, and one time we got into it, and I was just like, you know, life is difficult because I have to choose me. At the end of the day, that's all I have. And she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would say that. That's why you're such a terrible person. But at the end of the day, I'm like, well, that is all I have, you know? I was just like, I can't, you know? After a while, if I've given and given and given, and then eventually I have to make the decision for myself, you know, I tend to, I'm extreme. So I'm either like completely one way, where I'm completely Aries out, but my Aries is in the 11th house. So I'm constantly dealing with like friends and having to think about myself and moving and putting all this other stuff. So some people could view me as like the most selfish person on the planet. I only think about myself, and I have terrible reviews for some of the close friends that I've had. But other people in the world see me as the most kind, generous person on the planet who's constantly giving and constantly like giving myself back and all this other stuff. My moon is in the 11th house, guys. So I have a very complex little thing. So that's why I just want to emphasize that I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. There are people who would throw me straight in this category and be like, biatch, you know, you are the worst. You're so selfish. But I don't consider myself to be. But at the end of the day, I know that I came to this life to live for me. And if I want something, I'm going to have to get it. It's not going to be handed to me. So I'm going to go after it. That pisses some people off. It just does. So, you know, it's balancing both. But when it comes to relationships that I love, cherish, and truly care about, I make sure to take a step outside of it and be like, okay, how would I feel? And I've also learned to tell people up front, particularly when it comes to dating. I'm like, look, I love you. This is great. I'm happy that we're friends, but through trial and error, I've had to learn that at the end of the day, I have to choose myself. And especially if I have kids or something, then it's like, ooh, shoot, I have to choose my kids. Like, I have come to the conclusion where I say that to people, and some men get it. Some people are like, what? You know, and I'm just like, it's okay. It's cool. Like, I don't, you know, take it as you will. I'm just letting you know, don't put me in a situation where I have to choose you or me, because I will certainly choose me. I come from a great family. I don't need a whole bunch of rigmarole, a whole bunch of extra. So that's kind of how I've managed to live my life thus far. So anyways, I just went on that tangent because hopefully, you know that, because that seems to be what your life came to experience. But particularly when it comes to other relationships, if you truly care about somebody, then please, 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 for the love of gosh, try to put on a different set of lenses if you want that connection to stay. Because if you stay with your original thought, then you'll always end up losing people. You'll always be like, freak, what happened? I just lost a friend for no reason. That's okay. All right, let's move into your oracle cards. Wow, spark again. 3, 4, 7. So you know this life hasn't necessarily been easy. You've had to get it how you live it. But there's spark, creation, creativity. Like I said, some of you will be known for your creative spark with that Leo energy. You'll be known for fighting for people and championing for people on a grand scale. But when it comes to personal one-on-one, people might feel like, you know, some type of way. But follow your spark of inspiration, the spirit of place. We got 4, Cancer energy. You're meant to build a nice home for yourself. And you're meant to love those around you. Some of you guys are meant to be a mother or a nurturing figure, a father figure. And you got deep freeze. Look, this lion on ice, right? Sometimes you really have to put your ego on ice. Your ego can get so hurt sometimes, guys. And that your soul is choosing to live that, because this is just one of those lifetimes. I feel like a lot of your planets, if I had to guess, a lot of your planets will be in the 1st to 7th house. You might not be in the 7th to the 12th yet, or you have like most of your planets in the 1st houses, and then you have a lot in your 12th house. So you're really meant to constantly, again, like think about other people, lose to receive, and then details, Virgo energy. So pay attention to those details, because when, especially if you have Sag or even Leo or even Aries, any of that fire stuff, you can just start moving without any plan of action in the long run, and that could end up, you know, hurting you somewhat. So sometimes you will have to put your ego on a deep freeze, and you will have to think about others, because your soul is just inherently self-focused, which again, I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. I just think in the times that we live in, that's seen as like the worst thing on the planet. But like, for instance, here we go again, Gabby Douglas, prime example. Everybody is freaking coming for that woman because she decided that she wanted to take a daggone break. That woman don't owe nothing to nobody. If she's tired, she has every right to be tired. So what? Love America, screw America. Again, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Like, you have times where that has to happen. But again, she probably knew that she didn't want to compete a long time ago, right? But she wanted to be nice. She wanted to, you know, receive the accolade, get the gold, get another gold medal. Then got there, her ego got humbled because she was not performing. And then she was just like, well, I'm done. So now she looks selfish. You see what we're saying? You see where the balance comes in from other people versus yourself. If you continue to put other people trying to get the selfish result, then all of a sudden you're going to look the most selfish by the end of it, because now you look crazy. You're just like, man, I knew that I was tired before, but you were trying to be competitive. You're trying to be Aries. You're trying to be Scorpio. You're trying to be Leo. You're trying to prove everybody wrong. And now you got, you know, Icarus, your wings burned off. So this is a really like solo journey as to why your life, you know, is going the way that it is. But it's so interesting. You got Sea Turtle protection. You are the master of finding life's flow. Be in harmony with the rhythm and your path will unfold. Persevere and you will succeed. You have everything you need to be protected and happy. Yes. You are so protected. Just like that. Like I said, Jesus Christ, he had a whole lot of second house. He was a Pisces rising. So he had Aries in the second house and had like a stellium, like a two to three planets. I think it was 3 planets in the second house in Aries, including his moon. Divinely protected. God loved him because who's going to do it? You know, he had to be brave enough to go out there. So just know that you are protected in the long run and you'll always land on the pinnacle. And then you got White Star Protector. Again, you're an old soul. Your best friend is nature. Use your intuition to take you where you want to go. Awaken to the powerful forces with you. You are meant to create blessings with your magic. So use your intuition, guys. It really is a solo journey. You know, spirit speaks through you. Your ancestors speak through you. You are so protected. But if you get caught up in the one-on-one relationships and you get caught up on the friendships and all the other stuff, you will find yourself in a place of disappointment just because people won't understand you all the time. So, you know, that happens. And you got Fox Clever. You are swift and smart. Solutions to problems are easily found. Always listen to your instincts. Like I said, always listen to your instincts. One more time, always listen to your instincts. They're not wrong, you know? And then it says resources surround you. Be open to romance. So there will be people who come into your life who you are meant to love. You know, this is one of the few romance cards in this deck. So I love that it came out because you are meant to experience partnerships. But when it comes to that partnership, in order to open yourself up to romance, you have to take yourself out of the situation and not look at it in such a self-centered lens. So just be mindful of that. I love how all this is talking about resources and money. So you are meant to find abundance and all the other stuff. Like I said, some of you will be able to receive world recognition. You are meant to have money. That's been a theme through all of the piles. So no matter where you are financially right now, you will always be able to get what you need. You will always be able to survive. So you'll be taken care of. You're certainly protected and you are loved, okay? So that is what I got for you, pile number 4. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please let me know if this resonated. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And peace until next time.